Brian Herman, and my wife Linda and I live in the northeast corner of Royal Oak on Genesee. We have lived in Royal Oak for 37 years. This is the story of the apartment project at 4704 Rochester Road. This parcel of approximately 1.25 acres is on the northeast corner of Rochester Road and Genesee Drive, 1 block south of 14 Mile Road. A bank building sat unused on this parcel for a decade or more and was a ripe location for a development. I believe it was in 2023 when a project was proposed for this location. The developer was requesting planned unit development status, PUD, which would allow him to bypass the zoning requirements for the project at the discretion of the Planning Commission. 2 hours before this first meeting, the Rochester Road project was dropped from the agenda. This was significant as a large number showed up to comment on Rochester Road, not realizing it had been dropped from the agenda. What was on the agenda was another project with a PUD request. This project on Greenfield Road was by a different developer, but the same attorney and architect as the Rochester Road project. This project, although smaller in scale, was similar to the Rochester Road project in that it was too large to meet the zoning requirements by a factor of 4. The initial proposal was rejected by the Planning Commission. After the first proposal was rejected, the second proposal that only exceeded the zoning requirements by 3.3 times was presented and received an orchestrated split vote that passed the approval of the project to the City Commission, where it received a rubber stamp approval. Some positive things did occur. The Rochester Road Neighborhood Group became energized to make their opinions on this project known to the Planning Commission. Another was our group saw how biased the Planning Commission and City Commission were towards the developer. Also, during this time, our group became acquainted with the Protect Royal Oak organization and its principals, mayoral candidate Trish Oliver and former city attorney Chuck Semchina. Trish and Chuck had a great deal of experience with these types of projects and other unpopular neighborhood issues. For me, and I'm sure others, their input was very educational. Back to 4704 Rochester Road. The developer, recognizing his project was likely to receive pushback from the neighborhood, scheduled a meeting to hear our concerns. The project proposed at that meeting, a 48-unit apartment building, was examined by the residents and they expressed their concerns. Among the concerns that the residents voiced was overwhelming size, lack of needed parking, traffic, and the use of a public parking lot to access the complex. After this meeting, the developer repackaged the project to a slightly smaller size. I cannot help but feel that that was the intent from the start, to allow them to claim they had addressed the residents' concerns. The resized proposal, now down to 42 units, was submitted to the Planning Commission requesting PUD status. This project requires a PUD as it fails to meet the current zoning requirements by almost every metric. In fact, it doesn't even meet the city's own requirements for a PUD. After public comment and the developer's presentation, a somewhat contentious discussion arose between the residents and the commission. This resulted in us being gavelled down and the commission taking a 15-minute break in an attempt to control the unruly crowd. Immediately after returning, the commissioners had a discussion and then insisted that the developer remove parking spaces that had been added per the residents' request after the original meeting with the neighborhood. This was deliberate and punitive. After another recess, the planning commission gave the recommendation for approval to the city commission. Adopting the master plan as written would eliminate single-family zoning and its protections. Our city leaders have already shown they cannot be trusted to represent the residents, only the developers. We must resist the adoption of the master plan, as this will allow our city leaders even more ability to change our neighborhood without our consent. It's time to send a message to our city leaders. You need to stop telling us and start listening.